Hello, hello. What is going on? And welcome back. We've got our second to the last session here for the official first day of Dare to Be Great 4 era of the headset. And I have with me Trae, and he's a training officer with Florida Highway Patrol. This is going to be excellent. I'm looking forward to this. Glad to have you here. Also as a speaker. We have people in the comments already cheering you on, so this is going to be great. And the session that Trae is going to be doing today is Shaping Culture from the Front Line. Take it away, my friend.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me. All right. Look at all these friendly faces in the chat here. Hey, everyone. Good to see you. You guys all liking Dare to Be Great so far? I think it's been going pretty good. And what an act to follow from Sam. Sam rocked it. No script, no slideshow, just straight from the heart. And man, making it hard for me to follow. All right, so this is my first time presenting, so bear with me just a little bit here. But all right, so see, we got some friendly faces in the chat. But for those of you guys that do not know me, my name is Trae Maeder. I am born and raised in Southwest Florida. I am currently a state law enforcement dispatcher with the Florida Highway Patrol. Been with them for 7.5 years, both dispatch training officer and sometimes still as an acting supervisor. As of this year, I am on the executive board with the Florida chapter of ADCO, which is a fantastic experience. If you guys have not had any time to, volunteer or do any work with your local chapter of ADCO or NINA, it is a fantastic experience. I highly recommend it. Just being involved outside of, the comm center and getting to do some more work for the profession and the greater good of us as a whole. Definitely recommend it. I'm a team member with Humanizing the Headset, which if you guys have not seen, it's a really good group on Facebook of great positive posts, great people. We have a blog and podcast, and it's just a really good time, and I'm very fortunate to be a part of that. I participate in several committees, both with APCO, NINA on the state and national level. I'm also very fortunate to be part of committees with both 911 Wonder Woman and the Denise Amber Lee Foundation. So I have a little bit of experience and have the opportunity to be very involved with the industry, and I'm very fortunate to have made some great connections and get to know you guys. So today, our mission today is to talk about shaping culture from the front line. So what we're going to do, we're going to, sorry. We're going to walk away from this hour feeling empowered to be an encouraging coworker. We're going to understand culture and how anyone can have an impact on it. How we're going to inspire professional and positive growth and change in the workplace. And I want you guys to all have a basic understanding of emotional intelligence and why it's so important. Like Ricardo said, feel free to drop some questions in. I'm going to do my best to keep up with the chat throughout the session, and then answer those questions at the end. All right, so the phrase shaping culture got your attention. We got some of you guys in here, but what is culture? So culture is defined as the shared beliefs, assumptions, behaviors, and norms that exist within an organization, both written and unwritten. It's how the people feel at work, how they come together to serve the mission and goals of the organization, and it's how the team thrives together. Cultures form both vertically and horizontally. We follow the examples and directives of our organization's leaders, but we also learn and adopt the behavior from our peers. To quote Tim Birmingham from his book, How Leaders Can Strengthen Their Organization's Culture, if you're leading people, then you must accept the fact that your actions, words, and behaviors speak very loudly. They communicate a strong message to those you lead, whether you choose to believe it or not. Your people are watching your every move and will frequently overanalyze and read into every word and action. Don't assume those you lead aren't watching, listening, or paying attention, because they always are. Don't assume they won't follow your example, because often in unexpected ways they will. So I want you guys to keep that in mind as you move through the motions every day. Are you setting an example you want your peers to follow, that you want your subordinates to follow, that you want your leaders to see from you? Because regardless of your title, regardless of your position in the agency, your organization, the whole team is going to be watching. And speaking with a peer of mine, and I see him in the chat here, Zach Dykes, he brought up a really good point that a lot of centers don't have their own mission statements or core values. And ideally, we want these to be separate from the response organizations or the parent organizations that we serve, like the police departments, fire departments, EMS, you name it. These can be key tools in guiding your organization's culture. Does your center have this established? And if asked, could everyone in your center state what your center's mission and values are? If not, you may want to think about forming a committee to come together and create a mission and value statement that not only highlights where your organization is now, but to create an emphasis for the ideal culture your team wants for your workplace. In his book, People-Driven Leadership, Adam Tim wrote, "Exemplary leaders enable others to act by fostering collaboration and strengthening others." What better way to do that than by letting your frontline members of your team work together to form the backbone of their ideal culture for your center? Let's also keep a culture of high morale by making sure everyone on your team understands how their role supports the organization's mission and how they're making a difference within the organization and the community. At the end of the day, everyone wants to feel valued by the work they do. Thank your coworker, thank your supervisor regularly for any help they give you, and remind them of the impact they're having on your team and on their community. Going into this next session, I want you guys to soak in this thought. It takes one person, one voice to make a positive impact. If you're that voice, others are sure to follow. So being an encourager and daring to be great. All right. Oh, I see you're in the chat. Who all knows Halcyon Frank from the Dispatch Lab and the Meet San Belief Foundation? This woman right here, let me tell you. Halcyon's Be an Encourager movement on social media with encouraging posts, quotes from 911 professionals, ebooks helping improve the workplace, t-shirts, stickers, and all the other merch that's been flying around. Be an Encourager was a monumental mind shift for me. I've always been a person supporting positivity and love the glasses half full metaphor kind of thing. But we've all heard the stories of low morale in the comm centers, and we've all probably seen a coworker hit burnout or been there ourselves. I know I've been there. But I bought into this idea hardcore. 3 simple words that carried so much meaning. The idea that one person, whether a new employee on the front line or the director of the center, can influence the culture of the entire organization and workforce. I've attended more and more industry training because of the Be an Encourager movement. I've started listening to industry podcasts about personal development in specific industry. I've been doing a bunch of reading to help improve things. And I started communicating with my agency supervisors, my leadership, my peers about what I thought we could be doing more of or a better job at. And I also may or may not have thrown a bunch of the stickers all around the center, on my mailbox, on the lunch pails, everything. It's everywhere. Gotta spread that message, right? So we've learned from the Connection Culture, which is a book and pretty interesting organization, that in order for there to be an impact, this thing called the positivity ratio needs to be overly positive to offset a negative culture. And that positive emotions at work result in improved resiliency, trust, and creativity. These are all things we want in our industry, in our centers, right? We see enough negativity vicariously through our work, our callers, the radio, you name it, that we need to do everything we can to have a positive and resilient workplace. So what are some things we can do to promote a positive culture? Start with something super, super simple. Smile as much as you can. I'm sure in some customer service training or even in a phone class, you were told that your caller can hear your smile and it makes a difference. Well, guess what? Your team, your coworkers, they can both hear and see your smile. Energy is contagious, so let's start that with that smile and get that going right from the jump. All right, another super simple one. Say good morning, say good night, and check in with your peers and take a personal interest. Bring some value to the relationship you have with your coworkers. A brief comment at shift change, like, hey, I saw you went to Disney this weekend. Really hope you and the kids had a great trip. Did you guys check out that new ride? Or heard it was super busy this weekend. Doing anything fun to wind down in your days off? That's taking an investment in a positive relationship with your peers. And it contributes significantly to a positive work environment. And we've all seen our coworkers do incredible work. We've seen them handle really tough calls like an absolute rock star or superhero, as Sam might say, or just consistently doing their best to make sure the job gets done. But how are we recognizing them for that? Something as simple as saying thank you and good job whenever you can. If the supervisor's off the floor, something I'll do is I'll shoot an email to the coworkers saying thank you to them and saying what they did, and making sure to copy the supervisor. That way, if it was missed by some chance, it's sure to show up in their performance review, or the supervisor can also give some kind of recommendation or recognition for it. Maybe your organization offers some kind of reward program or recognition program. Like we have what's called it's now State Law Enforcement Dispatcher of the Quarter. We also do Dispatcher of the Year, above and beyond the Call of Duty awards, stuff like that. But if your organization doesn't have anything like that, look into one, creating that. But two, look into your local chapter of APCO or NINA. They may have awards, or some other private organizations like Humanizing the Headset. We have what's called the Thin Gold Shine Award that we give out monthly. We accept nominations year round for it. So make sure that that's something you're looking into. If you guys aren't giving out awards in your center, there's awards everywhere else that you can start looking into. Something I do personally, I keep a stack of thank you cards in my bag at work. I got a super cheap 50-pack on Amazon, and I just keep these blank thank you cards in my backpack. And if someone does something to help me out, or if I really appreciate something they did, I make sure they get a handwritten thank you card. That just says, thank you for being there for me, or for helping out the ship. Next slide, you're going to see our center started a kudos wall. We have these big, I'm sure most centers having the big sound absorbing pads on the walls. We took one of them and we made it, wall of kudos and wall of thoughtfulness, where anytime anyone sees someone doing a good job, or they want to shout out the shift or whatever, we have little thumbtack sheets that they can write their kudos on and throw it up on the wall, so everyone knows that that shift did a good job, or that person did something that was really great. Sorry. To quote Christopher Connors, you have the ability to build a culture that employees want to be a part of. The goal is to create a dynamic culture that will earn raving fans in the form of customers and employees. So what things are we doing that earns the buy-in from our team and provides everyone that best experience? Don't wait for your boss or your coworkers to shift the culture. You have the ability from the front line to do your part. Thank you guys for all the comments in the chat. Yes, Halcyon, love Humanizing the Headset. Great place. Yeah, Roxy, thank you cards. It's a small thing, handwritten stuff. So there's the picture of the kudos wall that we have. There's even a little sticker from the dispatch lab up there. All right, so emotional intelligence, EQ. So whereas IQ refers to intellect, EQ refers to emotions. So let's touch a little bit on emotional intelligence and understand that it's super important to how we interact with and influence our teams. So what is it? The Institute for Health and Human Potential defines emotional intelligence as the ability to recognize, understand, and manage our own emotions, recognize, understand, and influence the emotions of others. So in practical terms, this means being aware that emotions can drive our behavior and impact people both positively and negatively, and learning how to manage those emotions, both our own and others, especially when we are under pressure. And what comm center isn't ever under a little bit of pressure, right? So simply put, let's think of emotional intelligence as being presently aware of and in control of your emotions and state of mind, and being to read the room, or acknowledge the emotional state and mindset of your friend, your coworker, your caller, the trooper on the radio, the officer, paramedic on the radio, and adjusting your approach to how you handle them accordingly based on what that emotional read you're getting is. Another reference that I'll make to Christopher Connor in his book, Emotional Intelligence for the Modern Leader, he shares that Talent Smart tested emotional intelligence alongside 33 other important workplace skills and found that emotional intelligence is the strongest predictor of performance, explaining a full 58% of success in all types of jobs. Being presently aware of your emotional state and that of those around you you're interacting with has a significant impact on the workplace culture. Each and every one of you is a leader in your own way, regardless of your title, regardless of your position. No matter what you do to make an impact in your organization, someone's watching. To quote General Colin Powell, leaders must embed their own sense of purpose into the heart of and soul of every follower. The purpose starts from the leader at the top, and through infectious, dynamic, passionate leadership, it is driven down through the organization. This is how you spread positive energy and how you impact the culture of your organization. All right. So it's 2022. It's almost 2023. Isn't that crazy to think about? We're almost to 2023. Where is this year gone? We are in a time now where it's never been easier to build up a network of like-minded folks from both in and outside of our industry that we can collaborate with. Whether on professional forums, social media, training classes, conferences, virtual conferences like we're at right now, meet new people, stay connected, and discuss your ideas and issues, and take those discussions and bring solutions and proposals back to your organizations. Keep yourself informed on what's relevant or changing in the industry, whether it be new training methods, customer service theories, you name it, and bring those into your workplace. To again quote my good friend here, apparently Christopher Connors, transforming leaders are never content, and certainly not complacent. With the success they've achieved in their careers, they know that personal development, whether it be coaching, meditation, reading new books, and professional development, attending leadership conferences, learning a new technology, training, are very essential. So never stop learning. Knowledge is super powerful, and part of that power is the ability and responsibility of sharing that knowledge with others. I find awesome articles all the time, resources, books, webinars, interactions with a mentor. If any of my supervisors were in the chat right now, they would confirm and probably complain about all the emails I send all year long, sharing new ideas and information that I want them to know, that I want our center to know, and that I want us to employ into making sure we have the best workplace possible. I go a little heavy on the emails, and anyone who's been on my email list probably knows. So we've also all heard people complain about problems at work or how other places could probably have it better. Don't buy into that. Take that person, grab them, say, here's your issue. All right, so let's sit here, let's brainstorm. What can we come up with? What can we decide? What can we, propose as a reasonable solution to bring improvements to the workplace? No reason to sit there and complain about it when we can try to find a way to fix it, So another quote, you have 100% operating control over how persistent you are. Cast your worries and fears to the side and keep going when you believe in the vision you set forth for your organization. Don't worry about being too persistent in your efforts to drive change. You may even ask yourself if you are being persistent enough. So keep your head held high and keep doing what you know is right for the organization in this industry. Something I was able to start at my center that we really enjoy. We have this professional development library. So every Christmas, and National Telecommunicators Week, I'll buy a new book and throw it in the library. That's something that I've read. I've referenced a couple of these through the session already. Just really good information that I think is so important for our team to have. And it's just so much better to have it readily available. And I'll go grab one of these books every once in a while and reference it and go back and reread some of the stuff that I really enjoyed from it. Exactly, Halcyon. No reason to sit there and complain. Exactly. Just button up and find a way that we can fix it. All right. So there's a bunch of you in the chat. There's a bunch of you here. So I want to take just a minute. Sorry. I want to hear from you guys. What are things that are happening at your center? What are ideas that you have to shape culture and improve things in your center? Or what are you guys doing already that just makes for a really good culture? I know Roxy's doing great things at her place. I know Erica's doing some cool things. So what are you guys doing at your centers or your organizations that promotes a really good positive culture? It'll be a second before the chat starts to come up, but I know some of you guys are here with cool ideas. That's fantastic, John. Team building outside of the center when you can is phenomenal. Unfortunately, we don't have squad schedules like that, but it's something I've really been wanting to figure out is find a way that we can, get the whole shift or a majority of us together outside of work. Absolutely, Crystal. Coming with that smile every day and having a good attitude and trying to get everyone on board with you is fantastic. Yes, Dr. Jones, love that. Jess, hey Jess, good to see you here. Oh, I'm sure you guys are doing great decorations. Make sure you take those decorations and get in that Denise Amber Lee contest. They're doing some cool stuff. John, I don't know if that can't be Avengers. Something that. Oh goodness. Love that paint and sip, Ayana. That's fantastic. Pollock Mills, yeah, that's great. Who doesn't love to bond over food and have a good time, right? New recipes is a good way too. That's cool. Love that, Jolie. Gingerbread house team building. That is awesome. Monthly projects. All right. First Friday awards. I really like that, Erica. So this question from Anonymous about how do you get the frontline staff to help rebuild the culture? Well, that goes back to the mentality that it just takes one person. If you can get some other folks on board with you know a good positive attitude and if you bring that every day, you come in smiling, you come in with the right mindset, and you try to spread that, someone's going to catch on to it. It's contagious. It's going to happen. So bring them with you, and then it'll catch on. Chaos coordinator signs. Love that, James. Events committees are a great idea to really get your team involved in making that happen, Roxy. I love that. And a food drive, like to give back to the community, that's fantastic. And competing with the shifts is an interesting idea. We just did a Thanksgiving food drive, but we just did it as a center. So I think it'd be interesting to try to add some fun to it, just to see what shift can bring in the most. Really good idea. I'll wait for a couple more to roll in, and then we'll get trucking right along. You just gotta give it your best, Roxy. That's all you can do, right? All right. So here's some books, podcasts, Facebook pages, etc. that I know cover some of what we talked about today. There's so many more resources out there, and I'm sure I'm missing a bunch of them. But feel free to drop them in the chat, and I'll add them to a list, or we'll see what we can do to get a list out there. Um, but also not listed here are some industry blogs. Groups like Humanizing the Headset, 911 Wonder Woman, Within the Trenches, 911 Training Institute. Um, they all have awesome blogs full of great information to help you and your organizations. Um, if you haven't checked out any blogs or been reading it to keep up with the profession or attending webinars, 10 out of 10 recommend it. It's a fantastic resource for you, and it gives you so much information and material to bring back to your organization. Um, and if you have ideas or you have things that you want to share, reach out to some of these blogs. I know Humanizing the Headset, we're always looking for guest bloggers, and we'd love to have you guys share with us. So if you have any questions or ideas about that, reach out to me after the session, and I'd love to try to work with you on getting an article out. I published one last year with Humanizing the Headset, and I hope to have another one out before the end of the year. We're gonna see about that. But all right, so here's my email address, a QR code you can scan to get some more contact information from me, or where to find me on LinkedIn or the other socials. I'm out there. You can find me, but don't hesitate to reach out. I'm out there. I love meeting new people. I love having conversations with like-minded folks. I would love to pick your brains, or get into a good discussion about any of what we talked about today, or anything about life under the headset or training, anything like that. So, any questions before we go? Is Ricardo popping back in here?
Yo, yo. Excellent work, my friend. Yeah. I don't see any questions over here in the QA. However, one, I dig Popple. I have Popple as well. I really like that one.
Yeah,
It makes things so much easier.
yeah,
But you were talking about all of these different things and how to, you know, build certain things as well within your center. And when I was still dispatching, one of the things that we did, and it was so like morale was down like bad. Morale was really bad, and it
yeah.
was
Sure,
it was
everyone
to the
gets there. Yeah.
yeah, to the point where I think it was also because we were so, I mean, everyone is short staffed, right? But we were so short staffed at the time that no one was allowed vacation time. You could not take a day off,
Oh,
or there was
nope.
There was nothing going on. It was to the point where if you were volunteering for overtime, when you went in for that overtime so that you would go down to the bottom of the force in list,
Yeah.
you were getting forced in on that overtime shift for like a shift going like the following week. So it was really bad. Plus, you count some county politics and stuff, and
Oh,
it was
yeah,
just it was just not good. But one of the things that they tried doing with us, where in the beginning everyone was just, this is bullshit, like, like nobody wanted to
yeah.
do it. But what it was though, it was so everyone's individual teams, we had these themes that we were doing and we had to like take these pictures and get kind of creative with it. But after we actually got into it and really started doing it, things actually got better. Because in the beginning we're just, "Hmm, this isn't going to work."
Yeah.
But once we started getting into it, it actually worked. But also there was another thing that we did where we brought in like baby pictures and we put them up on the wall, and everyone had to guess to see who was who. And that was also kind of another team building that we did, was putting those on there, guessing who each person was, but also kind of talking about ourselves, sharing a little bit more. And I mean, that's really what it took, was for us just to start talking and sharing who we are, where we come from, all of that. But I think it was the most fun to be able to put our baby pictures up there and everyone start guessing who was who, because then, if you were wrong, you're like, "What? Are you for real? I'm pretty sure that's you." And they're like, "No, that's not me." But that was probably one of the most fun things that we did, as we were trying to shape our own culture there from the front line. So that's just one more thing. Like Roxy over here says, "We've
Yeah.
done that. Such a fun thing."
Love that.
Yeah, it was a good time. But so there was that, but also bringing in a lot of those from out in the field as well, so that we could all get together. We're shaping that culture, but we're bringing those out in the field as well, because if they understand what we do and we understand what they do, we can start working together a lot more, and it made our world a lot better. I don't know about you guys or anybody else there in the
That's
comments, but it really helped out.
it's a huge disconnect in a lot of places, is, a misunderstanding between the two sides of the console.
Mhm.
If you don't get a chance to go do a ride along and you don't understand why they may be asking the questions they do, or why they want the information the way they want it, or whatever, getting out there and sitting with them, and you know having understanding of why they want it, can significantly improve your appreciation for your job, and knowing that you're helping them with something when they ask for it a certain way, or if you just give it to them that way and you start giving, just being ready for them and anticipating them, it's going to be that much better, and vice versa. Them coming in and sitting with dispatchers, they get an understanding of, oh, they're doing a lot in here. We talk about all the time, they forget that we're on the phones as well as the radio. We don't have separate call takers from dispatchers, we do it all at the same time. So
Mhm.
when they key up 3 times in a row with their ID number, 5,000, 5,000. I'm trying to get the caller on the phone to stop for a second so I can answer the radio. They gotta give me just a second. If they come in and sit down and put on the headset and they see it happen, they understand. You know, and that's a big disconnect that we have. And if we clear that up, and that's no longer an issue, that's an improvement to our culture.
Yeah, yeah, no, I fully agree. I remember having a conversation with one of the officers that I worked with, and he goes, after being in there with you guys for a little while and noticing that when you tell us to go and stand by for when we need something run, you're not just telling us." It's like, yeah, I'm not being a dick. Like, I'm actually doing something. Like, there's other stuff that
Yeah,
we're doing, man. But now that you understand, that and the person said, "Yeah, now I know that you're not just telling me that. We're cool." I was like, "Oh, well, if that's what it takes, then
yeah,
that's then that's what needs to happen. You need to come in, do a sit along, and we'll do the same thing, and we'll learn from each other. That's how it works."
yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you so very much, man. This was excellent. And folks, please reach out to Trae for anything, and just follow what he's doing, following what you're doing as well, man. You've got a lot of stuff up and coming, and I'm excited to see any other session that you end up coming up with. Thank you so much for being a speaker.
Thanks so much, man. Thanks for having me. I really
Of
appreciate it.
course. Yes, it's
And
been
thanks everyone
excellent.
for tuning in.
For sure. Yes. Thank you, audience. Everyone, we are going to be going to the next session here that's going to wrap up the official first day of Dare to Be Great for Era of the Headset. And then after Dr. Jones's session, we're going to end up going live on social media for After the Greatness, which is the recap show of every single day for Dare to Be Great. So we will see you all in the next one here in just a moment.